Hey guys, welcome to this video. It's Lee Henkin here, and in this video we're going to be talking about how you can get clients using cold outreach messages on LinkedIn. Okay, so I'm not going to get into the why you should use LinkedIn and all that stuff. If you're in B2B, you already know the benefits and reasons why you should use LinkedIn. Okay, but outreach messaging specifically on LinkedIn is one of the most effective and easiest ways to actually prospect for clients on the platform. And I'm just going to show you in this video at least what works for me. It's from there. You can take this process that I'm going to outline and apply it to your own prospecting in your business using LinkedIn. Okay, so basically the process in a nutshell is what you're looking at here. Okay, pretty much 5 steps to it. Okay, it's firstly starting off with ideal client profile, secondly validated offer, 3 your LinkedIn profile, 4 your list building, and 5 the strategic outreach. Okay, so I'm gonna go through and break down each of these steps in the process. All right, so the first step is your ideal client profile. Okay, and just before I continue on, all of these steps should be followed in logical order, so they've all been structured in this way, in the correct sequence of steps to follow to actually get results. So you don't want to like skip, say, steps 1 and 2 and 3 and then just go into like number 4, because you're just not going to get the results you want. All right, so I thought that was important to mention. Anyway, first thing you want to do, ideal client profile. So you need to clearly define who your perfect ideal client is. Okay, you need to get specific with this, and really get a clear picture in mind as to who you want to be targeting, who is the perfect client for your business. Okay, 2 main things to look at with this: demographics and psychographics. Demographics is things like the job title of this person, of this perfect ideal client, the industry they're in, company type, company size, annual revenue, things like that, geographic location. So yeah, they're the sort of things you're looking at for demographics. For psychographics, this is really the important stuff, to be honest. This is like the deep stuff, the intimate stuff and knowledge about your perfect ideal client. That's really going to make the difference to actually being able to create messaging that gets their attention and interest in what you're selling. All right, so this is things like, what's the biggest problem they experience? What do they worry about? What are they complaining to their friends about in private? What are they frustrated about? What makes them angry? Things like that. Okay, so it's really getting deep on the problems they have, the challenges they experience. All right, because you need to be able to know these problems and pains that they experience. That is really the basis of all good marketing. Okay, you understand the pains, challenges, and problems of your perfect ideal client in order to give them something that's going to help them fix that problem. So that's really super important that you get clear on both demographics and psychographics. All right. Secondly, you got to have an offer for them that they actually want. There's no point selling something that your ideal clients do not care about. Okay, so you need to already have a validated offer, or an offer that maybe you at least know solves a very big and important problem that you know that your ideal client basically needs help solving. Okay, because if they don't solve it, it's just going to result in more pain down the line. All right, so with this, you want to really make sure that it's specific to who your ideal clients are, like whatever your solution is, and it needs to be specifically aligned with the big problem that they experience. Okay, and it needs to give them the specific results and outcomes they want more than anything else. All right, so in short, your offer's got to solve a big problem and give them the result and outcome that your ideal client wants. Okay, so that's super, super important. Third thing we're going to look at is a client-facing LinkedIn profile. Okay, so your LinkedIn profile is not a CV, it is a sales page for your company's product or service. Okay, so a CV is used for getting a job. Okay, if you want to get clients on LinkedIn, you can't have a LinkedIn profile that looks like a CV. It needs to look like a promotional tool for your company's product or service. Totally different approach. Okay, so with your LinkedIn profile, you want to focus on communicating and positioning your profile in a way that shows your perfect ideal client that you have a solution for them that solves the big problem they're experiencing and gives them the desired results and outcomes they most want. Okay, now there's a lot that goes into this, from like your headline, the summary, experience sections, things like that, using content on your profile, all that sort of stuff. There's a lot of different elements of your LinkedIn profile that go into creating this positioning and communicating that you are an expert who can get your ideal client the result they want. Okay, so I'm not going to go into every nitty-gritty detail about that, but that's essentially the aim of your profile, is to communicate you have a solution for them that gives them what they want. Little tip here, make sure your summary section in particular, that you break it down into bite-sized chunks that are easy to read, understand, and give your ideal client some clarity around what it is you do and what it is and how you can help them exactly. Okay, really good thing with this to keep in mind is the question, what's in it for me? So whenever your ideal client or prospect, whatever, lands on your LinkedIn profile, they are asking the question, what's in it for me? Okay, so basically, if your LinkedIn profile cannot answer that question, then they are not ever going to care or be interested in what it is you do. And the way you answer that question, what's in it for me, is by communicating that you are able to get them the result and outcome they most want. Okay, if your profile communicates that, you can help them with the problem they have and can get them what they most want more than anything else, they are going to be interested in hearing more about what you can do. Okay, so super important, especially once you start doing your outreaches on LinkedIn. People are going to go and look at your profile after you message them. Not all the time, but in a lot of cases they do that. So, your LinkedIn profile needs to match the actual outreach messaging, be consistent, or you're just not going to get the kind of results you want. Stage 4, building a hyper-targeted list. Super important. Okay, so once you know exactly who your perfect ideal clients are, you need to be able to find them. Specifically, build a very targeted list of prospects that matches this criteria you have for your perfect ideal client. Now, you're going to need to use advanced search in Sales Navigator to do this effectively. I see a lot of people try and skimp on this and try and use the free accounts, things. I'm not saying it's impossible to do lead gen on LinkedIn using outreach messaging with a free account, but it's certainly not as effective compared to using the premium Sales Navigator account. Okay, so once you're using that, you're typically going to need to use both lead and account searches. I'm not going to go into that here. I've got another video on this channel where I explain how to do a lead and account searches, so you can have a look for that after watching this. One thing to keep in mind is to focus on quality and not quantity. You need to make sure your list that you build out is exactly what you're looking for, okay? If it's not exactly what you're looking for, you're going to basically build a list that's going to have shitty prospects on it, okay? You want your list and to be very high quality, okay? And it's more important to have a small group of prospects that's exactly matching your ideal client criteria compared to a lot where, you know, maybe just like 70% are matching and then you've got 30 who are just like terrible. Okay, so it's really important to focus on the quality and making sure your searches are very high quality and accurate as it pertains to what your ideal client criteria is. So once you've built out your list, you're going to need to start reaching out to them, okay? So I recommend a slow but steady approach. It's a marathon, not a sprint, okay? You know, depending on who you ask, some people will say to send 100 connections a day. My approach is a bit different. I recommend about 20 to 30 a day because, as I said, it's a marathon. You're in it for the long haul. And the more you send each day, the more likely it is that you're going to run out of connects eventually and then get a restriction put on your account. So you really want to focus. This is why it's so important to focus on a quality list too, because you've got a limited amount of connection requests you can send. So you want to make sure that because it's limited, that you're sending those connection requests to very high quality prospects. All right, so 20 to 30 a day, slow and steady wins the race in this case. So once you've connected with your prospect, you need to start engaging them through conversation using the messenger function in LinkedIn. Okay, so a rule here, do not sell or cold pitch straight off the bat as the first message you send. Take it from me as someone who's used LinkedIn for a long time. If you do that, you will almost get 0 responses and people will just think you're a spammer and just annoying. Okay, also, it's just a terrible way to approach a sales conversation. Reason being, because in sales in general, just a sales principle, you never sell something to someone unless you know they have a need for what you offer, okay? Now, if you're going to cold pitch someone as soon as you connect with them, well, you're obviously not going to even know if they've got a need for what it is you offer. So you first want to engage in conversation to identify if a need even exists. Then once the need exists, then you sell, which in this case will be moving the conversation offline to a phone call or perhaps an in-person meeting, depending on I guess how local you are in terms of your marketing and your business in general. So in terms of actually getting the sales conversation started, there's 4 frameworks I recommend, okay? High value content, the trusted advisor, the fake offer, and the uppercut. Both of these are a bit different. So high value content, what this means is that you essentially reach out and engage your prospect to see if they would like to see some content you have that is based around solving the big problem your ideal client experiences. If they tell you they want to see that piece of content you've created, you then send it to them, which also tells you that they're interested and that they actually have the problem that you can solve. All right. And then from there, you're going to move the conversation offline. Really important with this is that you make sure the content you create is very specific to the problem they experience. If it's generic content, you will almost get 0 responses. The trusted advisor approach, so this is where you're coming in with a very personalized approach, okay? So basically you're going to look at something or identify a reason why you can reach out to that prospect, okay? So you know, maybe you offer Google Ads as a service, you're a Google Ads agency owner, and you notice that the prospect is running Google Ads campaigns, but they're making a lot of mistakes with their campaign. So what you're going to do, you're going to reach out as the trusted advisor. You're going to send them a message that says, you know, hey, Mr. Prospect, notice you're running some Google Ad campaigns targeting this keyword. However, I noticed a big mistake you're making is that you're sending this traffic to your home page rather than a specific landing page targeted at that keyword, which, you know, is going to result in lower conversions, reduced, you know, basically they're going to spend more money and not get as much result that they want, etc., etc. Okay, so you're going to reach out in that kind of way. So you want to look for something they're doing wrong or that they can improve to get better results with, reach out to them about that, give them some advice on what they can do. Then if they respond interested, then you're going to move the conversation offline to a phone call, okay? The fake offer approach, what this involves is where you reach out to a prospect as if you've created some kind of personalized, valuable content for them, but you haven't actually created it yet. So you're reaching out as if you've created it, and then once they respond that they're interested, then you create it, then you send the content to them, then you move the conversation offline. So an example of this might be, let's just take the previous example that I use with a Google Ads agency owner. Again, say you've noticed a company that's running Google Ads, you might reach out, instead of just putting your personalized recommendations in a message, you might reach out with a message that says something like, hey, Mr. Prospect, notice you're running some Google Ads campaigns, but you're making some mistakes with the keywords you're targeting and the landing page you're using. I've created a quick Google Ads, I don't know, lead generation video for you that explains how you can improve performance of your campaigns. Would you like to see the video? So you haven't actually created it, but then if they respond, yes, I would like to see the video, then you go and create this video, then you send it to them, then you invite them to a phone call to discuss what you found. The uppercut approach, now this is the most direct and aggressive approach that I use. So what you're doing here is you're going to reach out and be extremely direct and basically come in with a message that's something like, hey, Mr. Prospect, are you looking to improve X, Y, Z? Just let me know if you are, because I specialize in helping niche companies get whatever result they want. Reach out if you'd like to hear more about this. And that's it. You're not going to send anything else beyond that. You're just going to send a very direct, straight to the point message. See if they'll actually reply, interested to hear more. Okay, so it's a very aggressive approach. But if you know who your ideal client is and the big problem they experience, and you can help them get the result they want, this can be a very effective approach. Otherwise, this approach tends to fall flat unless you're really specific and relevant with the message. So yeah, and then from there, once you've used those messaging frameworks and you've got the interested lead, you've got that response, you then need to follow up, nurture those leads, and as I've already mentioned, move the conversations offline. But the first step is to always get the interested response. You never want to sell until you've identified a need exists. All right, then you move the conversation offline. So that's it, guys. That's all for this video. Hopefully that all makes sense. So there's really 5 steps to being able to get clients with simple cold outreach messages on LinkedIn. It's extremely effective if you do it right and you know that your ideal clients are on LinkedIn and can be reached on the platform. Okay, if you like this video, like it and share it across, whatever your favorite social platform is. If you want to hear more and find out more about my LinkedIn outbound prospecting process, do check out the link in the description section of this video, where you can find out more about accessing my LinkedIn outbound prospecting mastery training program. Okay, so that's it, guys. Hope that helps. Go out, implement, and kill it with your prospecting on LinkedIn. See you all soon. Bye.